Howdy friends, Hannah coming in hot, toasty hot today with like tips on tips on tips on how to save money on groceries. No matter what your budget is, we're still gonna save money, all right? Are we ready? I'm ready to go. But before we dive in, we need to start with a good old college caveat. Caveat? Wait, crap. 1, our food priorities are unique to each of us. I surveyed the team here at YNAB, and these are the budgets of my actual coworkers. Some have special diets, some eat all organic, some are really trying to pay down debt, and some just really like food. None are wrong, none are right. This is simply what they've decided works for them and fits in with the rest of their financial priorities. So, while I cannot tell you what your grocery budget should be, I can give you some handy tips and tricks to save money, waste less food, and keep those tummies full. Now let's dive into the actual tips. Number 2, shrink down your grocery timeline. Think about this with me. In which of these scenarios do you feel like you're more likely to overspend your groceries budget? Option A, at the start of the month, you're given $400 to spend on all the food that's going to feed you for the rest of the month. Or option B, at the start of each week, you're given just $100 to spend on the food that's going to feed you for only the next 7 days. Same amount of money, same amount of time, so what's the difference? Scarcity, because scarcity sparks clarity. Budgeting $400 a month for groceries is a great, wonderful budgeting boundary, but it doesn't really give me a good sense of how much food I should buy today. $400 is a lot of money. 30 days is a lot of time. So I don't know. How do I, are we gonna have friends over for dinner this month? Is there like some kind of holiday where I'm gonna need to buy a bunch of extra food? So I don't know. I've found myself much more likely to succeed with my groceries budget when I'm given a much smaller amount of money to accomplish a much more tangible goal, like using only $100 to buy only 7 days worth of groceries. And I know what's happening in the next 7 days of my life, so I can be pretty darn realistic in knowing I'm getting exactly what I need to make it through the next 7 days of my life. It also just makes it easier to say no. If there's some kind of fun food or snack that I'm really wanting, but I just can't fit it into the budget this week, I can always say maybe next week. So in my budget, I actually make 4 separate groceries categories, one for each week of the month. And for my little family of 2, we put $75 in each week, the first 3 weeks, and $100 in the 4th week of the month. Tip number 3 is just don't under budget. If you've been consistently spending over $600 on groceries every month, then that might just genuinely be your household's natural intake of food. So if you go and slash your groceries budget to be $450 a month, that's just not a very sustainable change. It's gonna be a real hard switch to make, and then you're gonna feel like a failure, when really you're not failing, you're just gonna be shopping according to what your family actually consumes. So instead, try this. Tip number 4, baby step your way into saving. First, we take one teeny tiny baby step towards saving, and once we accomplish that goal, then we let ourselves take another baby step. Start by leaving your grocery allowance exactly as it is, because this is how you've been living. This is what you're used to. Then just simply try shaving off $5 or $10 at a time. Nothing big. If you budgeted $400 for groceries in February and you succeeded at that, then okay, going into March, give yourself $390 instead. Instead of budgeting $150 a week, take a whack at $145 next week. And then we keep budgeting at this rate until we are consistently staying within those new boundaries. And if we are, maybe we shave a little off again. Number 5, meal planning matters. This is probably the tip that you didn't want to hear, but just like with our budget, where we organize our dollars out to all of our different expenses to make the most of our money, we want to organize our grocery list to make the most of the food we purchase. Now, you don't need to exit this video and start meal planning 21 meals a week. That is a very good example of bypassing baby steps and just bungee jumping our way into uncharted territory. Not exactly the recipe for success. And we just talked about this, but can you have 2 or 3 meals a week that are tried and true, approved by the whole household, and you always make sure to have the ingredients for them, or you build them into the weekly cadence? And P.S., I'm not talking fancy here. I mean like taco night, spaghetti night, meatloaf night. Building even a minimal routine can cut down your decision making at the grocery store and eliminate a lot of that guest shopping, where you throw it in your cart and just hope you can figure out something to make with it later. And speaking of planning meals, number 6, value your leftovers. You made that food. That's real good food. If I were to make up a totally baseless statistic that most people would just take me for my word on, it would be that 85% of leftovers end up in the trash. Why is that? Even if you are the most masterful chef or meal planner in the world, but you're not building those leftovers into your weekly plan, they're almost never gonna get eaten. They just gonna slide back further and further in the fridge until all of a sudden they just don't exist anymore. Except they do exist because they're molding. And then like a month later, you're like, that's not a good way to do it. So to help with this, number 7, try an eat me first bin. Anything that's getting even remotely close to its Denso day can just be thrown in the eat me first bin, and the whole household should know that if they want a snack, they gotta check the eat me first bin first before they eat. The apples, the lingering cheese sticks. And if your kids are the main culprit when it comes to bypassing the older stuff and just going straight for the new stuff, build a reward system for it. If everyone in the house eats just one thing out of the eat me first bin today, then we get dessert after dinner tonight. As a kid, I would do anything for dessert. Anything. And since we hate throwing things away, 8, keep 2 lists, inventory and shopping. Half the time our food goes bad because we just didn't even know we had it. We knew we had it, but we forgot. So next time, before you go to the grocery store, open up the fridge and the pantry and write a list of what you already have. Half a bag of dry rice, 1 bag of raw carrots, 2 dino nuggets, 3 eggs. This is obviously the most work the first time, but it gets easier and easier the more you do it. The inventory helps for many reasons. First, if an item's not on the list, you are safe to buy it without risking having duplicates. How many times have you had like 3 cartons of eggs in the fridge? Second, after your shopping trip, add any newly purchased items to the inventory and then pop it on your fridge. Put a star by anything snackable, and now you have a list of ideas for things to eat. 3, it helps with meal planning a lot because you already know what you have and you can fill in the blanks. 4, then when say you have the last apple from the bag, you can cross it off the inventory list and move it over to the shopping list. Take both lists with you when you go to the grocery store. When you come home and you're unpacking your groceries, update your inventory with any new items, and then pin a brand new clean shopping list to the fridge. And if this all sounds a little excessive to you, you're like, no way. I actually just learned, yeah, there's an app for that. Pantry Check is a great app to use for this exact purpose. Next, 9, pay attention to what you throw away. Throwing away food is throwing away money. You bought it and now you're getting rid of it without having ever used it. And that sucks. If there's a food item in your fridge that you are always throwing out, just stop buying it. For example, in our home, I'm always throwing away asparagus, Brussels sprouts, and avocados, which shocked me to my core because I love all 3 of those things, but here's the deal. They're just similar enough in the fact that they're green and healthy that we are never consuming all 3 of them by the time they go bad. So a new rule in our household is that we can only buy 1 of the risky items per shopping trip. So if I want Brussels sprouts this week, I have to say no to asparagus and avocados. There's just no way that we're gonna get to all 3. We are the reason avocados have such a bad rap. Sincerely sorry to the avocado population. Number 10, try out less expensive options. I had a roommate in college who bought everything brand name, and when I asked her why one day, which in retrospect was kind of rude, she said, I don't know, these are just the brands I know. Okay. I would die on the hill that Friendly Farms yogurt from Aldi is hands down the best yogurt out there. And it is $2.49 for a 4-pack of Greek yogurt cups. Last time I went to Kroger or Safeway or Wegmans, it was like at least $1 for 1 Greek yogurt cup. Like, tell me what's the math on that? Now, don't buy all store brand at once because some of it is not great. Just try it here and there. Don't get Cheez-Its, get like cheese squares or whatever. If you don't like them, that's okay, don't buy them next time. But you would be shocked at how much you could save. And while we're at it, 11, sales aren't always cheaper. You might see a big flashing red sign, sale, over the Tostitos, only to look a little more closely and see that these store brand tortilla chips on just a normal day are still cheaper than Tostitos on sale. Sales are extremely good for tricking us into thinking we're saving money when really they might still not be the cheapest option. And now that we're really digging into the nickels and dimes of saving money on groceries, for those who really want to save money on groceries, number 12, keep a price book. Whenever you toss something new into your cart, check out the unit price. Write that down as well as the overall cost of the product and the size of the product. This trains your eye to learn how to recognize a truly good price. Also makes for cool trivia facts. And if the total price of your cart is always getting away from you, 13, shop online to keep an eye on your cart total. When you start to notice that your cart total is going crazy wild over budget, it's a heck of a lot easier to click a few buttons to remove items from your cart than it is to run through Schnucks and put everything back on the shelves. Also an especially great tool if you can't seem to figure out how you're spending so much on groceries. And lastly, number 14, keep emergency meals on hand. Because sometimes it isn't even spending too much on groceries at the store that's the problem. Sometimes it's bypassing the food we have at home because we had a long work day and we're tired and we don't have the energy to cook. And while takeout is totally fine if you have the budget for it, you may actually still be losing money on top of it if your groceries are going bad as a result of you not using your groceries and getting takeout. This is where emergency meals come into play. There are 3 requirements for what makes up an emergency meal. 1, they have to be easy to make so that the work of making dinner doesn't deter you. 2, they have to be delicious so that it can sway you to skip takeout, which is also delicious. And 3, they have to be something you can keep in the freezer until the day comes when you need it. I suppose it could also be like a box of mac and cheese or something, but still. Lasagna, pasta bakes, soups, meat and veggies, lots of options. But also, y'all, I ain't never thrown away a frozen pizza. Especially from Aldi, they are $2.49. You sit on enough couches, you can afford an Aldi frozen pizza. So, tell me this isn't the cheat code to life. And that is a wrap for all my tips on saving money on groceries. Truly, don't forget number 4, baby step your way into saving. This video was packed with a ton of great ideas, but our very best bet is to choose one that we think we can sustain, try it until we achieve it, and then try our hand at another one. And if groceries is just one of the many areas in life where you feel like you're always overspending or spending more than you want to, a budget is an amazing tool to show us where our money has gone, where it is going, and where we need to send it in the future. You Need a Budget is an app you can use on your computer, on your phone, on your tablet that will finally carve out the financial clarity you've been wanting your whole life. To give it a shot yourself, follow the link below to your free 34-day trial. And yeah, I'm hearing a YNAB Win coming up. Donald says, my wife and I are 71 and 72 and live on Social Security. Living on Social Security is hard, but when I signed up for YNAB, I now have money left over each month. We just set our goals and stay on them. It's amazing when it's all laid out in front of you. You can see the roadmap and not get off the main road, if that makes sense. It makes sense, Donald. Don't worry. And I genuinely cannot think of a more perfect description for YNAB than your roadmap to financial success. In fact, I'll take a roadmap to all aspects of life if anyone's got them. I hope this video gave you at least 1 or 2 new ideas on how you can save money on groceries. Thanks for tuning in and happy budgeting. How to pronounce caveat?
Caveat.
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 Why do you sound like you're speaking another language?
Don't boil or fry another egg before listening to this.
We are looking at how to pronounce this word, as well as how to say
Caveat.
caveat.
What?
I want to stress on the first syllable, caveat.
Caveat.
Very straightforward once you
Why is
know.
everyone saying it weird?
Caveat.
Caveat. I think it's caveat. I'm gonna go with that. Caveat. Oh crap, no, I don't know.